Yep, that's what I'm after. Right, there we go. Much better. Right. So, patch 5.01 notes, there isn't a subtitle for this one because it's only the 5.1, 5.2 patches that get the subtitles. So, playable content. So, Chronicles of a New Era. So, we know that we are going to be getting Eden. So, you've got Thancred, Eorzea, and then the Warrior of Light there. So, it starts off in the Crystarium, in the middle of nowhere. And you've got to have completed Shadowbringers, obviously, in order for you to get onto that. And then you go to deploy the core, which is the second one, and then you've got the next 4, which are the missions for the 4 raids. They haven't given us the titles, however, they do give us the titles of the actual raid floors later on. New Orchestrion roles have been added, so the 5.x and 2.x, so they have changed some of the 2.x ones. Not too sure what they will be, or if it's just the fact that Orchestrion roles were brought in 2.x and they've added 5.x ones in. Lance and Dragoon, so Disembowel, the duration's been changed from 24 to 30 seconds, so just a quality of life improvement there. And for Scholar and Astrologian, their AoE spells, so Art of War and Gravity, have been reduced to MP 600 cost. That just brings in line with Holy. So Holy has got that same cost for both of, so as Art of War and Gravity does now, because they are so like 600 MP each. It just makes sense, the fact that they are 600 MP as opposed to the 700 and 800 MP that they have been previously. Still, Art of War's more potency than Holy. Gravity's at 10 potency less. No drop off at all. However, Holy, I feel, is still that better spell out of these 3, just because Holy still has that AoE stun attached to it as well. So, at the bottom, it does have the caveat: the changes to job actions in 5.01 only included adjustments to parameters such as potency and effect duration. They could have made more potency changes, I feel, so Ninja and Dancer could definitely use slight potency increases. I know I've played Dancer quite a lot, so maybe a 10-20 potency on the first combo hit, and then a 20 to 40 potency improvement on that next combo hit, or on the flourished side of it, that 20 to 40 extra potency, just to give it a little bit of a boost, because it is quite low when it comes to personal DPS, the same as Ninja at the minute. Ninja, in fact, by all accounts, the bonus that you get from Trick Attack, the raid DPS that Trick Attack brings, isn't sufficient in order to get past Ninja's poor DPS right now. So that's going to be interesting. Now, it does say further changes are planned for patch 5.05. In the JP notes, Arthas has tweeted out a much more specific translation of the JP notes, and in the JP notes it does say massive changes are coming in 5.05. So in a couple of weeks' time, expect those big changes. So I'd expect the Dancer and Ninja potencies to be increased. Maybe some changes to Bard, maybe some changes to Dragoon. Just Dragoon's really good at the moment. I'd like to see some potency buffs to Samurai, even though Samurai's got insane personal DPS at the moment. I just feel that its lack of utility could use the extra potency in order to kind of be the opposite of Ninja, whereas Ninja's personal DPS has always been low because its contribution to raid DPS has been high because of Trick Attack. Samurai doesn't have that that actual raid DPS to bring, so I feel it needs to bring that massive big DPS side in order to combat that. That being said, the big number DPSs, based on the Final Fantasy Flogs details that we've got at the moment, the FF log details, Black Mage, which is the big number DPS for the casters, it is top of the shop. It's performing massively great in Shadowbringers, and people are really happy with Black Mage. Samurai and Dragoon are up there second, I think Samurai is. So it's doing its job. It is up there in terms of damage, but I feel that just the additional numbers might help. And Machinist, which is the big number range DPS job, is the big number range DPS job. It's definitely up there. I feel that Machinist can be quite clunky to play. I'm gonna retry it because I really like Machinist, and I have done in Heavensward. I really didn't Stormblood, despite what people said, and despite what I felt about the fact that obviously you got stuck in animations when you're trying to flamethrower, and bosses disappearing for wildfire, those types of things. It is really annoying about those. However, obviously, it's something I really do want to try going forward. In terms of the other jobs, I'm sure there will be changes. Astrologian needs something doing to it because it is definitely the weakest of the three healers at the moment, which is really frustrating because it's my personal favourite. Scholar is in a really good place healing wise. I think people are just slightly disappointed by its DPS side, but on the flip side of that, I haven't played Scholar. I'm going by what kind of Mr. Murphy said based on White Mage and Scholar, because he's leveling his Scholar at the moment, and what we're going to actually be doing is finishing him off to 8 before we jump into Eden. And he's enjoyed his White Mage as well. So the new raid dungeon Eden's Gate's been added, so it's 425 average item level, 8 players, Cyrus of War Magic level 80, Q solo via the Duty Finder after unlocking the raid. Mr. Murphy says Scholar heals are great. I haven't actually got my chat box on here, so let's just quickly go and see if I can add the Twitch chat overlay. Where will I put it? I'll put it up here. We'll pop it up there. So a little bit of behind the scenes work there. So you've got to deploy the core. That's going to be what you use to unlock Eden. So treasure coffers that appear upon completing Eden's Gate will not yield gear, something that we are used to, but instead yield tokens that can be traded for gear of your choosing. You can only receive 1 token per raid per week. So there's 4 raids, so you can get 4 tokens per week. In the event you are awarded a token from the loot list, you relinquish your right to vie for all remaining tokens. So if you greed a token, because you're not that bothered about it, and it gets rolled on first, whether you need a token or not, you lose your right to do that. So what I personally do is I look at how I'm planning on using Eden to gear up my job. So one of the first things I'll be quickly having a look at is seeing what, especially because I've got a little bit of time, is seeing so like where I can go in terms of BIS for my accessories, best in slot for my accessories, and for well, especially the accessories, because you're competing against Instance X, so you've got 450 accessories there already. So I'll definitely be looking at that. I'll definitely be looking at seeing where kind of your best in slot sits in terms of your left side of gear. So you probably going to be getting 450 for everything. But one of the things that they have suggested, so there's 2 places you can exchange them. So there's Gulgul in Amareng and there's Yal Yal in Yulmore. First time that there's been 2 places you can actually exchange these tokens. So that's really interesting, the fact that they're going in multiple places. So you've got, they're all called Early Antiquity. So to get the headpiece you need 2 helms of Early Antiquity, body piece, armor, hands gauntlets, waist belt, legs chasseurs, feet greaves, and accessories are bangles. Upon completing Eden's Gate Sepulture, which is going to be the 4th level, you can also earn a Blade of Early Antiquity once per week. This reward can be exchanged with Gulgul in Amareng or Yal Yal for lightweight tombstones, which can in exchange be exchanged for weapons. 9 AM British Standard Time, 8 AM GMT, whatever that is for US viewers. I do apologise, I'm not too sure what that is. In terms of the actual lightweight tombstones, you will be able to get those along with tombstones of Phantasmagoria once Savage releases in 2 weeks. So you should theoretically have 2 blades, and you'll probably need 7 based on previous experience. So you'll need another 5 after that to get your lightweight tombstone, unless you get a lightweight tombstone in the Savage raid, because they will drop as drops in there, along with the fact that you will also be able to get that 370 weapon or 470 weapon properties from the full floor of Savage. Now, I did say that there have been some slight changes. Now, this is based on an E3 interview that Yoshi P did, obviously back at E3. And they turned around and said that previously, each floor of a raid had specific pieces of loot that it dropped. So the first floor always dropped bangles, greaves, and belts. They were the only things you could get. The armor, or the shaft as it was known at the time, would only drop from the 4th floor. So you had to get the shaft 4 times from the top floor. They've turned around and said that they have changed it in that every piece will now drop from every floor. So it will be interesting to see if it's a flat. There's 7 pieces. So if you, well, just quickly do 100 divided by 7. So will it be a flat 14.25% chance of each thing dropping in each slot, or will it be, say, in the low floor, in floor 1, there's a 5% chance for the body, but there's a 30% chance for the accessory, and vice versa in the higher floors, so that you are encouraged to run the higher floors. Because I know what I did was, when I was gearing up, I would run the lower floor for my accessories and waste, and I'd do that continuously, and I'd only roll on those specific items until I got one. So I did, say, Alti-Volt, the first floor of Delta Escape, say 5 or 6 times until I got the chain or the bolt, which is what you needed for the accessories and the waste back in Stormblood. And I just kept doing that until I got that for the week. However, if this is different, it's going to be interesting to see just how people want to do it. So the 4 Eden's Gates are Resurrection, Descent, Inundation, and Sepulture. So they've been out to the Duty Roulette Mentor and the Duty Roulette Normal Raid, so they're all going to be in there as well. So they're your 4 floors. Required average item level to register for Mentor Roulette has been increased from 410 to 425. PvP action, so Dancer. Lots of potency nerfs for Dancer, just across the board. Tooltips for various actions have been revised in PvP as well. I'm not going to talk too much because I don't really know PvP that well. These are the gear sets for the Eden raid, we believe. So you've got on the far left this one here. I believe this is the tank. This one and this one, they look very similar. So I reckon that this is the caster set, and I feel that this is the healer set, just based on the fact that they're very similar. I originally thought this might be the caster, the physical range DPS, but I think this might be the physical range DPS here. So I think this is the caster, and I think this is the healer. Therefore, we've got striking, maiming, and scouting. Not too sure how they've differentiated. This definitely looks like the scouting set, because it's very similar in terms of the aesthetic to the aiming set. So I think that the scouting and aiming set are very similar, and then the striking and maiming set. So I think this will be the maiming set. I think this will be the striking set here. So tank, caster, DPS, the striking, maiming, scouting, physical ranged, and then healer set on the end. If you've got any other theories, please let me know. I think that should be the way that they're going. New minions have been added, so obviously the final raid will probably drop a minion. New achievements, additions have been made to auto translation, new music, volume of the title screen music has been increased, just for some reason that needed to be done. Character creation text for both Hellions and Lost has been upgraded to clarify the Rothgar lore. Resolved issues, so let's have a look. Icon from the main scenario quest, Light of Inspiration, sometimes displayed incorrectly. Instance battle in the main scenario quest, the Orc of Light, whereas the incapacitation of Alisei would sometimes not result in duty failure, so keep Alisei alive. Side quest, Seeking Inspiration, wherein completing the applicable duty roulette leveling dungeon will not advance the quest. Cut from a different cloth were incorrect. Morbid motivation. Just having a look to see if there's anything. Issue with Red Mage PvP, PvE actions where the icons for the Thunder and the Stone will change to those of the Flare and the Holy when the corresponding conditions were met, even before reaching the level at which the Flare and the Holy are learned. I'm just going to have a look to see if the world's up yet. Nope. Side would not function when executing a text command. If you're using side via text command, I don't know what you're doing. Whispering Dawn not take effect under certain circumstances, but they've resolved that. I'm just trying to have a look. An issue when coffers in the Katana Revel will drop the fallen tree furnishing directly into the player inventory rather than adding it to a loot window. As of patch 5.01, all players will be able to roll in this item via the loot window. Certain monsters not always appear. Yeah, so Viera voices type 7 and 9 have been sorted. I think that's about it. Don't think there's anything else. No, that's everything. And there's no real known issues either. So until the world comes up, I'm gonna pop you back onto the stream will be starting soon screen. While that's going on, I'm gonna quickly go and edit this. I'm going to put this up on YouTube. It has been a quick live update of the patch notes, but I'm going to quickly go and pop it on YouTube. So until then, thank you for watching. I'll pop you back onto the stream starting on now.